again and look at where the punch was thrown, look at all the details, and they'll be like, that's not right at all.
No, it's not right at all, but what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, well, hopefully it'll be something that'll be corrected, because the next time they will meet will be next month in October at the MetLife Stadium, when the Patriots head to East Rutherford, New Jersey, to take on the New York Jets there. So that was one of the big. And other fines announced on Friday. The Buccaneers defensive end Adrian Claiborne received a $21,000 penalty for a helmet-to-helmet hit on Saints Drew Brees. Jeff, it seems like ever since going back to last year, and you and I have been doing shows for 5 years, thinking about how all these hits are just getting to be real nasty. Roger Goodell has just been tough with any player who throws a cheap shot at a player or at a coach or at an official.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Shouldn't be happening at all. You can't touch referees. Right?
No, you cannot.
Yeah, can't touch the refs, man.
That wasn't the only fine from the other game. Okay, Dash and Goldson
Yeah,
was
easy
fined
for you to say.
was fined $100,000, but had his suspension overturned, and Tampa Bay safety Ahmad Black received a $21,000
Well,
fine.
Tampa Bay is kind of got a little trouble over there because they're starting to rebel against their coach.
Well, yeah, and you think about the first week of the season, Tampa Bay goes and plays the Jets. They had a chance to win that game, and then they've been just getting hit with one penalty after another, and that's not good, because maybe the Buccaneers are saying, we don't want to play for this coach of ours. We're trying to like rebuild and get rid of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach. That is a possibility.
I mean, what's his name? Moisianu or Shianu or Shatsu or whatever the hell his name is.
I'm checking that for you right now.
I wasn't too fond of him going there to begin with. I don't think he's gonna do a good job with that team.
Yeah, and I think that's why the Buccaneers are probably like saying, another year with him, let's just be the team that isn't going to play nice. We'll play dirty, and we'll be the team that deals with rebuilding.
Yeah, lots of that, my friend.
Because it's two heartbreakers that they lose. They lose the first game to the Jets. Then they lose the game to the Saints, and I know Kenny was very happy about that. I saw a post on Facebook about it, about how it wasn't an easy game, but they were able to win it.
How they got by the skin of their teeth?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Buccaneer fans are probably saying, we should be 2-0 right now. But how stupid it is that where all of our players are getting hit and well, if you don't hit them very hard and don't get flagged and get penalized, then you won't have to deal with this whole situation.
Well, the referees are calling a lot of penalties.
Oh yeah,
you think?
Absolutely.
So yeah, they're getting a little crazy with this, and it's starting to annoy me.
Yeah, they better fix that.
Yeah, I'm not liking it at all.
I believe the guy's name is Raheem Morris. That's the name of the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
No, Raheem Morris is not the head coach of the Buccaneers.
Nope, I was wrong. I thought that was.
Raheem Morris used to be the head coach of the Buccaneers. It's a college coach that came from college and is now coaching the Buccaneers.
Greg Schiano.
Greg Schiano, yeah.
There we go.
It was
Greg
Schiano.
I thought I was wrong.
That.
That's okay.
Greg Schiano, yeah. I was reading an article yesterday that they are rebelling against him, man.
Yeah, well, and when I watched the first press conference when they lost against the Jets, he was very, very, very disgusted with the penalties, and now he's disgusted again. He's saying, we should be 2-0 right now, and if we are going to get slapped with penalties, there's a big problem. Hey, Gio and Kenny, welcome. We're just talking about the Buccaneers and the penalties that happened to the Jets after players were hit. Don't feel bad, Sean. He goes, I just assumed he was coaching the Bucs. Buccaneers have been the same since John Gruden was their head coach and when they went to the Super Bowl in 2002.
No. Since he left that team, they have not been the same at all.
No. They've had like 4 or 5 straight playoff losses even when they've made it.
Yes, correct. Correct. You are correct, sir.
Yeah, and that's when they beat the Oakland Raiders, and there's another team after that hasn't been the same. Seems like both of those teams just really haven't been the same.
Well, what are you going to do? I mean, it's still the beginning of the season, too. It's very early. I mean, we're only in week 3 right now, so we'll see what happens. A lot of 0-2 teams, a lot of 2-0 teams, and I don't see those 0-2 teams going a lot further. Maybe some of them, but a couple of them, I don't see them, losing a lot more games before they win one. And it's week 3, and if you do it right, you break the season down into 4 quarters, 4 weeks in each quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do it like that. So if you can get 2-2 at the end of 4 games, if you're 0-2 now, then you're not that bad. And then you go on from there. It's a tough slide. If you go 0-3, then you got a little bit of a problem.
If you're 0-3 and you lose, you're going to have to figure out some way to turn it around. Otherwise, things could start slowly slipping by. So that's kind of one of the big headlines coming in the NFL. The other news to report is that the Texans LT Brown stays home with hurt toe. So Houston losing another player with the toe injury. Duane Brown is not traveling with his team to face the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday. He suffered an injury to his toe last week in the first half against the Tennessee Titans. I don't think it's going to bother the Texans that much. They're 2-0, although it was not easy for them when they played Tennessee last weekend. They barely got by that team, Jeff, and I watched the highlights of that, and I thought, wow, I actually was lucky to pick up a point in that game. I'm thinking all of us who probably went with Houston were saying, boy, we're lucky we got a point in that game.
Yep. The Browns traded their running back, right? To Indianapolis, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then they just picked up McGahee, who's going who's going to play Sunday for them. How freaking crazy is that? Is that logical?
Yeah.
I mean, he was the number 3 pick in the draft, and they trade him, and they pick up McGahee, who I think happens to be done. What the stick is going on here? It's ridiculous. What are they trying to? What is Cleveland Browns trying to get as many picks as they can in the draft and start from scratch? Because I happen to think that they're going to be the worst team in the league and take Johnny Manziel as the number 1 pick, which I happen to think is the stupidest move in the world.
The expectations, even I said this before the season, the expectations for the Browns are not going to be very good. It seems like every year's the rebuilding year. Last time they made it to the playoffs was the 2002 AFC wildcard game. They lost to Pittsburgh 36-33, and everything from there has gone downhill for the Cleveland Browns. Remember, Cleveland is the city that has got this kind of jinx on them. I'm not trying to get carried away. This is our NFL show because the Browns haven't won since the Jim Brown days, back when they won an NFL championship. And then, of course, the story with the Cavaliers, the Indians, and that stuff too. But I'm just saying with the Browns, I don't see very much optimism. Remember, in our picks before the season started, Jeff, you picked Cleveland to go 7-9, and my expectations of them were not going to be very good either. I picked them as a team that was not going to be strong too.
Right. No, it's interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting. Hey, you want to?
I picked them to go 2-14. I just didn't. That's what I'm looking at it right now on my divisions and on our picks for the records. I picked Cleveland to be 2-14.
And so right now they're 0-2, so they're on the way you said it, right?
Yeah, and you're hoping maybe they'll win some games, but still not make the playoffs and end up going 7-9.
Well, what they did right now, it kind of makes me look like a schmuck. It makes you look like a genius, right?
Yeah.
Because they stink. Obviously, they're not sold on Eden.
Evo, you're funny. I can't remember who, but someone wondered if Rachel Phelps from the movie Major League is the owner of the Browns.
Obviously, they're not sold on Eden. They weren't sold on Richardson. They got rid of that son of a bitch.
That movie is so funny because
They're going to start from scratch. How crazy is that?
It's like Rachel Phelps said with the Indians, we've been losing. What I want is for us to finish dead last. Well, if that continues with the Cleveland Browns, it'll be the same thing, and then Cleveland fans will be up in arms, and everybody will put their dog pound stuff away.
They're going to have to put their paper bags back on their freaking heads.
Well, at least Cleveland fans are happy that the Indians are doing well, but I'm not trying to get away from football because it's our NFL show.
That's the only thing they got. The Cavaliers stink. Freaking Browns stink. They're paying for the Indians to do something for Jiminy Cricket's sake.
Well, Cleveland is desperate for a championship.
Yeah,
The Indians haven't won it since 1948, back when Bob Feller was pitching.
I know. You ready for an update?
Ready to go, buddy.
All right, this update is brought to you by BuyHuntingEquipment.com. That's right, BuyHuntingEquipment.com has all your hunting gear, camping gear, fishing gear, hiking gear, and climbing gear. Head on over to BuyHuntingEquipment.com. That's BuyHuntingEquipment.com. Take it away, Sean, man, with the only update of the day.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, everybody, for listening in. We are at the bottom of the hour on Saturday, September 21st, 2013. It is 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 7:30 p.m. Pacific. Update, here we go. We'll start in Major League Baseball. As you all know, baseball season is starting to wind down. With tomorrow being done, there will be 1 week left in the regular season, but we still have a lot of unfinished business to get to. We'll start with the finals of the American League. In interleague play, the New York Yankees had an easy game. They shut out the San Francisco Giants by a score of 6-0. That is big because the Yankees are trying to keep their very slim, and I do mean slim, AL wildcard hopes alive. They will need a lot of things to happen in order to make it. Otherwise, with maybe 3 or 4 losses, the Yankees will probably be done and out of it. Not probably, they will be done and out of it. The Tampa Bay Rays, here's another team that is wanting to take care of the AL wildcard. They prevailed by a score of 5-1 against the Baltimore Orioles this afternoon. Jennings and Cobbs, they pasted them for the Rays as Tampa Bay continues to remain the leader for the number 1 wild card spot. And Baltimore is starting to fade. With a couple more losses, Baltimore could be eliminated from playoff contention. They will need to win tomorrow and really hope for a lot of things to go in their favor, just like other teams do. The Oakland Athletics, they take the game 9-1. Tomorrow, if Oakland takes the game, which is very, very likely, they will clinch the American League West Division. Congratulations to Bob Melvin and the Oakland A's on a sensational job. As you all know, my host, my good friend, picked Bob Melvin to be the American League Manager of the Year. We final wild card spot that the Yankees and the Orioles and the Royals and the Rangers are watching, that would be the Cleveland Indians. They take the game by a score of 4-1 against the worst team in baseball, and that would be the Houston Astros. The Indians are trying to get back to the playoffs for the first time since 2007, when, of course, they lost in 7 games to my Boston Red Sox. Speaking of the Boston Red Sox, they lose tonight 4-2, but it's nothing to worry about. The Red Sox, of course, have the American League East division wrapped up. They just need to make sure they can finish up strong and get the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. There's only 6 games left for the Red Sox, as they are likely to be the top seed in the American League. The Texas Rangers, they get a much-needed win. They need to win tonight's game in order to keep pace with both Cleveland and Tampa Bay as they hold off the Kansas City Royals by a score of 3-1. The Royals are not out of this thing, too. They need a lot of things to go in their favor. They need to make sure that the Indians start losing games, the Rays start losing games, Baltimore and the Yankees continue to lose games because the Royals have not been in the playoffs in such a long time. We're talking back in the George Brett days. Let's move right on over to the National League, shall we? The Arizona Diamondbacks winning 6-2 against the Colorado Rockies. Their chances of the playoffs pretty much over with and done. They will not be in the Fall Classic, as will the Colorado Rockies. They won't be in either. There is a team, however, from Los Angeles that will be in there. It's not the Angels. It is the Dodgers. They are up 2-0 right now against the Padres. The Chicago Cubs, they take the game. They spoiled the Atlanta Braves division plans as they were looking forward to celebrating today, but Atlanta only needs 1 more game to clinch the National League East division. The Marlins and the Nationals game has been delayed because of rain. The Nationals need to win as many games as possible, and they need to make sure that Cincinnati and Pittsburgh lose lots of games just so they can narrowly get the final wild card spot in the National League. It's very, very unlikely. The New York Mets, they lead 5-4 against the Philadelphia Phillies. That game's still going on. The reason why it was canceled for a while, postponed and stuff, was because of rain. Here's a game that is very, very interesting to Jeff.